I'd like to add we're glad to have Senator Reid back. I know he's had a difficult time the last few weeks, and we're proud you're back and on your feet. Mr. President, I'd ask unanimous consent to be introduced to address the Clay Hunt suicide prevention bill, followed by Senator Blumenthal from Connecticut.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I want to give you a stark fact and figure. Every year, 8,000 American veterans take their own life and commit suicide. That's more people, more veterans than were killed in all the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan. We have a major epidemic in America's armed forces because of soft tissue issues of PTSD and TBI. This Congress and both committees of Veterans Affairs in the House and Senate have acted, and tomorrow this Senate will vote on the Clay Hunt suicide prevention bill. And I want to talk about it for just a few minutes because it's critically important. When these men and women go overseas and volunteer to serve America and lay their lives on the line for us, many come back with terrible injuries, prosthesis, an inability to walk, some in wheelchairs. But the stealth disease, the one that hurts the most, the one that permeates the most, is PTSD and TBI. We have been doing as much as we could, but not enough within veterans' health care. Secretary McDonald has committed himself to improving the services of mental health to our veterans. I have committed myself. Senator Blumenthal has committed himself, Senator Boozman from Arkansas, Senator McCain from Arizona, who will speak later. All are committed to see to it we have a better program for our veterans. What the Clay Hunt suicide prevention bill does is it creates incentives for more psychiatric professionals to come into the VA healthcare system because psychiatry is the best physician expertise you need to deal with PTSD and TBI. But it also has external audits of the VA to make sure they're doing what needs to take place in terms of veterans' health care, in terms of mental health for our veterans. The tragedies are daily, the tragedies are compounding, and we must find an end to it. And Mr. President, well, a lot of people think these tragedies are veterans of the Gulf War, our Operation Iraqi Freedom, or our battle in Afghanistan. But quite frankly, a lot of them are Vietnam veterans. We looked the other way and didn't recognize PTSD and TBI for a long time, but now we have recognized front and center it is the major injury from the battles in Afghanistan, Iraq, and other conflicts in the history of the United States of America, and we owe it to our veterans to have the best mental health available to them. In my hometown of Atlanta, on August the 21st of 2013, I called a field hearing at Georgia State University and brought in all the VA experts on suicide prevention. Because quite frankly, we had had 3 suicides in the Atlanta VA within a very short period of time that got high-profile headlines in our newspaper. And as it turned out, we found that we really didn't have the follow-up, the follow-through, and the continuum of care that mental health needs and deserves. And we had some veterans that had fallen through the cracks, not just in Atlanta, but around the United States of America. In fact, as recently as last week, there's a tragic death in Atlanta. We don't know yet the cause. We don't know yet the root cause of it, but we know the individual may have had mental health problems and was a veteran of the war in Afghanistan and took their life and the life of their children. We don't know whether PTSD or TBI was the contributing cause or whether we had done anything wrong in terms of veterans' health care, but we know this: 4 more lives were taken from the stealth disease called tragic brain injury, post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I am very pleased as the chairman of the Veterans Committee to tell you that the House unanimously passed this bill 3 weeks ago on the floor of this House. The Senate Veterans Committee unanimously passed it 2 weeks ago in committee. The bill we will vote on tomorrow can go directly from the floor of the Senate to the desk of the President of the United States and be signed. Now, real quickly, I want to make 2 points for anybody that's listening that remembers last year. This bill failed last year. It failed for 2 reasons. One, members questioned whether or not we could afford it because it had a price tag of $24 million. We have fixed the price problem by taking internally generated funds at the VA to pay the $24 million. That's done. Secondly, some said, well, this is a duplicative service. We already have mental health services and suicide prevention in the VA. We have some, and we don't have enough. And it's not duplicative, it's absolutely necessary and essential that we do what we're doing. So, Mr. President, I'm proud to come to the floor of the United States Senate on behalf of all our veterans and tell them Washington is watching. We are listening. We feel your pain and we understand the problems that you have, and we're going to do everything we can to see to it that the Clay Hunt suicide prevention bill becomes the law of the land. The VA is held accountable for its policies and procedures in mental health, and we put an end and stem the tide to the tragic number of suicides that take place every single day. And I'd now like to yield to my ranking member on the Veterans Affairs Committee, Senator from Connecticut, who has done an overwhelmingly great job to see this through from beginning to end.